So you meet someone new, a date, a coworker, a friend, and when you're together, the chemistry feels electric. They lean in, they laugh at your jokes, they touch your arm, and look at you like you matter. It feels real, it feels alive. And then you leave. The text messages slow down, the vibe chills. You start asking yourself, were we even in the same moment? Did I imagine that connection? The sharp split between presence and distance is not a moral verdict about you. It's a mirror showing how your mind turns events into meaning. Fast, automatic, and often biased. The truth is, we don't experience events. We experience our interpretation of events. And this is how the chain goes: perception, interpretation, meaning, emotion, and then action. So that's the chain of actions, of events that's going on internally. Now the facts are, what actually happened are usually neutral. What makes us suffer is the first story our mind tells. That first pass, it's loud, it's immediate, and it's borrowed from old patterns. Think about your past relationships, your attachment habits, your fear, and your brain's negativity bias. So if you learn to take a second pass, you can change the story, and by doing so, you can change your life. So why this matters in practical terms? When your mind fills a pause in communication, right? When someone's not responding to you after you had such a great time with them, and it takes them hours, when your mind fills this pause, it's usually a catastrophic explanation, right? They're losing interest. I messed up. Or it was never real. So you act out of that story. You check, you text more, you become defensive, you withdraw. So those actions often create the very outcomes you were afraid of, right? Like the self-fulfilling prophecy. So the solution isn't to pretend that nothing matters. The solution is to get better at the meaning-making step. Let me explain. So there's some simple science behind this, okay? No fluff. Modern cognitive science describes the brain as a prediction machine. I have videos on that. Go to episode 60. It constantly builds, your mind constantly builds models of what will happen and evaluates incoming data against those models. So when reality conflicts with a prediction, it's what we call a prediction error. Your brain either updates its model or acts to reduce the error. And the first interpretation you make is often a prediction driven by your prior experience, not the fresh data coming in. So we also carry some mental lenses, which in psychology are called constructs. These are beliefs, schemas, and rules that you have. And that shapes how you interpret the world around you. So two people can share the same interaction and walk away with opposite meanings because their lenses, their constructs differ. And when your emotional state is high, like you're anxious, you're threatened, you're angry, your mental flexibility narrows. I have another video about mental flexibility and rigidity. Please search through the channel, you can find that. It's a very popular video. So you default to the easiest story. There's also something called metacognition. You're probably aware of that. It's your brain's capacity to observe its own thinking. That small feeling that, something's off, or maybe I misread this. It's a metacognitive signal. So you want to learn to treat that feeling as data, not destiny. So let's introduce a practical, repeatable method that's called the second pass routine. This is going to be very helpful, guys, okay? So this is a short, disciplined practice that you can use in the moment or after the fact. It trains your brain to prefer updating and curiosity over replaying your old wounds. We don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to give you the steps. Ready? Step number 1, state the facts. It's to yourself, right? Slow down and list only what happened. No adjectives. Don't embellish it. There's no story. So for example, we met for dinner or drinks. We were engaged in person. Then they didn't reply to my text for 6 hours. Just the facts. This is so crucial. Number 2, Name the first interpretation that you get. Be honest and brief. So my first thought, they're losing interest. So label the narrative without defending it, okay? Number 3, I want you to generate 3 alternative meanings. So force yourself beyond the first dramatic one. Like some examples. He or she must be busy at work. They're an introvert who needs space. Or their phone died. Or they communicate differently. Make alternatives, right? Specific and plausible, realistic. Number 4, I want you to pick the most useful meaning. So choose the interpretation that reduces your suffering and invites constructive action. That's how we pick. So I want you to use usefulness as the filter, not which story makes you feel most important or feeds your ego. And number 5, act from that meaning. Then observe. So send one calm message, then wait, or even set a boundary, and watch what actually unfolds. Then you can update your model accordingly. So this isn't fake positivity. It's disciplined sense-making. You're teaching your brain that update beats reenactment, right? So let's go over a short example in practice. So you feel this thing here. You send a message out to her or him, and they're slow to reply, right? First pass, they're losing interest, right? But the second pass, let's go over it. Facts. Let's go over the facts. They're great in person, then we got a 6-hour delay. What are the alternatives, right? Work crisis, travel, anxious about intimacy, or they have a different texting rhythm. Let's pick the most useful one. They have a different communication rhythm. And then the action could be, I'll send a short, clear message and give them space. So the result is you avoid escalation and you get real data. And if the behavior continues, you can adjust your expectations or just speak plainly. Either way, you act from clarity, not panic. So let me tell you why the brain actually rewards this. When you take a second pass, you reduce the prediction error more efficiently. You're updating priors, right? Prior experience or understanding with fresh evidence. Neurobiologically, this trains the networks in your mind that support cognitive flexibility, and it lowers the habitual reactivity of threat systems. So over time, uncertainty becomes tolerable. You think better, you decide better, and you relate better. So what changes when you make this a habit? First, you become less hijacked by old patterns. You communicate with clarity instead of demands, and you tolerate ambiguity without spiraling. So people respond differently to grounded curiosity than to frantic neediness. And most importantly, your internal life becomes quieter and more spacious. That's the freedom that brings better results in relationships and decisions. Let me make a quick note about power and humility. So you can be experienced and intelligent and influential and still misread signals. That's human. The difference between someone who thrives socially and someone who burns bridges, it's rarely talent. It's interpretive discipline, right? The interpretations we give. And powerful people who stay humble and curious keep getting better. So that humility is not weakness. It's smart optimization. Okay, so let me explain to you why I made this video about this topic today, right? This second pass routine. And not just because I've experienced this so many times. I mean, I've been on the receiving or sending side of this, but I can remember that I lit up around people who later drifted, and I've been the one sometimes whose slow replies cost someone to worry. But the lesson wasn't about who's right and who's wrong. The lesson was about the stories we tell and how they shape our behavior. It was just so fascinating to me. You know, the first thing that comes to mind is usually negative, and it's usually inaccurate. So when I learned to take a second pass, which is just so remarkable, my relationships stopped feeling like chaos and started feeling like feedback. And I gained clarity and, frankly, a better life, a more peaceful life. So what I would hope you take away from today's video is that you take events, the people, the places, the things, take them as raw data and know that the meanings that come out of those are chosen by you. So if you learn one skill from this video, let it be this: pause, take a second pass, and act from the chosen meaning that serves you. It won't solve everything immediately, but it will change how you move through life. Calmer, wiser, and more effective. So if this landed for you, try the 5-second pass routine the next time your mind rushes to judgment. You may be lucky and have daily opportunities for this, okay? Let's try this. Notice what changes when you use it. So something happens, you're quick to form some conclusion. It's usually wrong. Consider the facts, take a second pass, okay? So if you want more science-backed tools for mastering the forces that shape your life, please subscribe to my channel, Henry's Millions. Let's do the work together. Thanks for watching.